fooled you. No, there's no sound problems. Don't worry about your volume. That's just me being me. Okay, so Q&A. All right, another week of Q&A. We got questions. And we're going to start this off with a, not a trucking question, if you will. It's from Cyberish. I think that's how you say it. He asks, because I showed you guys inside my fridge and I have that bottom drawer full of yogurt. Now that's at the beginning of the week, and it's just a package of those little individual package thingies. I don't have one available to show you here. So, but anyway, they're not that big. And there's, how many is there? There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16 of those little thingies. And I eat about that, you know, roughly in a week. So that's how many there are. I like yogurt. What can I say? All right. So question number 2, a bit more now about trucking versus my yogurt. Ryan Hill asks, finally someone that actually puts their name. Like, really? Everyone else has these weird names. But anyway, okay. So he was saying that he was thinking about going in over-the-road trucking, and he asked, can I tell about the different companies? Well, I can't really talk too much about specific companies. I mean, I can suggest a couple of companies that I think might be able to help you out. Now, first things first, okay? Now, I've said this, we've talked about, you know, stuff like this, people getting started, you know, people want me to recommend companies. I can't recommend companies that I haven't worked for. And for a lot of you guys, you don't have your license yet, so you got to get the training. You got to get your license, got to get the training. So everyone's situation might be a little bit different. So, what I recommend is you guys have to first sit down with your spouses and figure out exactly what it is you want out of trucking, what your expectations are, and letting your spouses know that, you know, in your first year to 2 years, especially the first year, you know, you may not be home that often. It's going to mean, you know, long periods of time away from home, possibly. I'm not saying that's a definite, but, you know, there is that possibility. So everyone has to understand that, number one. Number 2, okay, so you have to look at what it is you want to do in trucking. Do you want to be home every weekend? Do you want to be home every night? Do you just want to run local around your area? Do you want to see the country? I mean, OTR is, you know, over the road, you know, basically coast to coast, north to south type thing. You also have to, one thing too, a lot of you guys don't realize, but being able to run into Canada, or vice versa, Canadian drivers being able to run into the US will open up a whole new world of possibilities for you. Now, I know a lot of guys say, oh, I don't want to run into Canada, blah, blah, blah. Okay, first things first, running into Canada, don't bring weapons. We don't like guns. Well, it's not that we don't like them. Our government doesn't like them, and they've passed all kinds of stupid gun laws. But anyway, so that's a big thing. You don't bring guns into Canada. A lot of you say, well, I always run with my gun. Well, you know what? There's a lot of these states, yes, you have concealed carry permits, and, you know, you can go from one state to the next, but there are a lot of states that you're not supposed to have it. So a lot of you guys are carrying guns illegally, if you will, cross border, you know, cross state lines. But anyway, so don't bring guns, don't bring weapons. When you get to the border, don't say, well, yeah, I got a 12-inch Rambo knife here right by my seat, when they say, do you have any weapons? Okay? Big no-no. You're going to get turned around. So, okay, being able to run into Canada, I know most of you, my American subscribers, this really applies to. Why? Because there's a ton of companies, I was about to say shitload, but there's a ton of companies that run into Canada, and you being able to run into Canada, meaning you have to have a passport or be able to get a passport, being able to, you know, possibly apply for the FAST program, you know, that's a big thing. It could mean extra money for you also. A lot of companies are offering bonuses, extra pay to run into Canada, because there's just, right now, there's a lot of freight coming back up into Canada and a lot of freight going south. So having that a possibility, you know, is always good. So anyways, I'm blabbering on about this one particular thing. talk about different companies was the original question. You really have to find a fit that's good for you. You have to do the research. Get a hold of a trucking magazine. You know, a lot of them you can find online anyways, and see what's good for you. Find out, you know, companies that do training for you. You know, some of the quick companies that'll get you on fairly quick and do training, you know, companies like Swift, etc. Some of the bigger companies, you know, Schneider, I believe, has a driver school. Schneider's pretty good, actually, in the sense that they've switched from over the road to more regional. So those of you who don't want to just go coast to coast, you know, want a 500-mile radius type thing, they're good for that. You know, Swift, you're gonna, you know, pick. I'll get into a separate video on that again. I've done it once before, I believe, or I've mentioned it. But I'm gonna get on to a video maybe next week about companies and picking the right company or something like that. So for you new guys. Anyway, that's enough with that. You guys, I can't go much more into that one. Okay. All right, so next question we get from Trucking, and I originally thought it said Trucking Fart. It's sorry about that. Trucking Fat 1. Again, the names, guys. Comes up with the question, and I don't mean to make fun of you, but it's funny to me. CB on. What would you leave on and what would you switch off when you leave your truck in the yard as you head off for home time? Fridge, clocks, radios, etc., etc., blah, blah, blah. Okay, so basically I shut everything off, okay? I don't leave anything plugged in. Mainly because it could drain the battery, you know, and then the boss can ask questions. Well, why'd you leave stuff on? Blah, blah, blah. So the fridge gets totally turned off. I even unplug it from the inverter so that there's no surges or anything. Oh, just saw a cardinal fly by. Anyway, I know. It's kind of like distract, you know, talking away and go, bird. You know, you guys remember the movie Up? That dog? Squirrel. So, anyway, that's how I am. So, ADD, yeah. What the hell was I saying? Oh, yeah, okay. So, what do I shut off? Okay, so I shut everything off. When I had my electric cooler, I unplugged it also. And then what you should do, fridge or cooler, is prop it open a little bit. Take a paper towel, bunch it up, or a towel if you have an old towel or a rag. Prop it up in the corner so that the door stays open. You want the air in there, because if you leave it closed, it's going to get musty, it's going to get stinky, it's going to get, if you know anything by chance did spill in there, it's going to get moldy. So yeah, and keeping it clean, you know, every week, wiping it down, etc., etc. So that you got to do. I turn off my inverter. I actually hit the switch, turn it off, so that my TV and my DVD player are off. My microwave is unplugged. You know, this is a process I go through every week. Also, I turn off my tri-pack. There is a main switch here on the dash, and that you actually can shut off versus going in the back and shutting it off. And I shut it off just because I don't want it powering up and, you know, wasting any fuel. The boss doesn't like that when, you know, we're not in the truck. So, yeah, pretty much I shut everything off. Alright, next question. Okay, Kenworth 8470 asks, did I ever drive a Peterbilt 359 from 1980 to 86? I'm guessing that's the model year that he's for the 359, because I wasn't driving back then. But nope, I didn't. I drove a 379. I can't even remember frig what year it is, or was. Somewhere. Anyways, I can't remember, but here's a picture of it. So, alrighty. So, and then he also asks, did you ever get to drive a Western Star? Yes, I did, as a matter of fact, and I can't for the life of me find. I only had a couple pictures of it, and I can't find them. It was a really nice one. The only problem with it is that it had like 250 lights on it. The guy that owned it was a little bonkers with the lights. The guy had like 3 trucks, and I drove one of them. He drove one, and he had another driver for the third one, but they're nice trucks. A little bit noisy, a lot of road noise when you're driving, as far as if you're trying to be in the bunk and stuff. You got to remember too, the stocks were like right beside your head almost on them. So, but yeah, very nice trucks. All right, so the next question comes from the Sound Experience 83. Has asked, have you ever been over the road and gone weeks at a time? How do you keep your mind off things to keep from getting depressed? Well, you don't get depressed. I mean, being a trucker is more of a lifestyle, so you got to really, really, really love it out here, number one. If you're only out here to collect a paycheck, then really maybe you should look at something else. But basically, you got to think of positive stuff out here, you know? You got to think of what you're going to do the next time you get home, you know, what chores you have to do, things like that. You got to concentrate on the road you're driving, you know, how far you're going to get, where you're going to stop for your breaks, you know, just enjoy the scenery, looking at, you know, the houses as you go by, how people live. Listening to talk shows is a really good thing. CDs on books for a lot of guys is a good thing. But you just gotta, don't let yourself fester on negative stuff. Like if someone, you know, cuts you off, don't dwell on that for too long. Or if dispatch gives you a load that you don't like, or says something to you that you don't like, or is really getting under your skin type thing, just, you know, dust it off and just, you know, don't let the little things get to you. That's where a lot of guys have the biggest problem out here, is letting the little things get to them. Alrighty, so we'll move along to the next question here. Let's see where we're at here. Okay, so this is not really a question. Hillbilly 510 mentions that, and some of you guys might want to pay attention here, and this will apply more to the American drivers, because to get the plans for the Canadian drivers is too expensive. But if you get you know, it's for guys wanting to watch movies and on Netflix, you know, because it is $8 a month. I have it for when I'm in Canada, but let's see here. Okay, he says his phone carrier, he can get a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot for $30 a month, which I guess gives him unlimited data usage. So yeah, so you guys in the States, you know, you can get some watch Netflix movies over the internet. And I know it's the connection at the truck stops might be a little bit slow at times, but you can get it through your smartphones. You can create a Wi-Fi hotspot, you guys with your unlimited plans. So that might be something to look into. Can't do it on the Canadian side because it's, or at least I haven't found one, at any rate. And Netflix.ca or Canada is different from Netflix US, so keep that in mind, guys. Alright, so the final question, I'm going to wrap it up with this question here, is this comes from CDN Snow, which is Canadian Snow, I'm guessing. What is the best type of trucking for someone that has bad shoulders? Well, definitely don't get into flatbed. Dry van, basically. And I would venture to say something with a company that has a lot of drop and hook, where you don't have to worry about driver assist, etc. That'd be about your best bet. So anyway, everyone, so that wraps it up for this week for Q&A. Keep the questions coming. I'll try to keep answering them. And we'll see you on the next one.